Hey everybody, it's mid-October 2019, and well, as is evident by the sound of the boiler behind me, we're back into that season where it's starting to get cool here in New England, so the heat in the house has been turned back on. Anyways, what we're going to do today is, this is going to be video on flea market finds. This is going to be the pick of the Brimfield flea market. Brimfield Flea Market is 3 times a year in Brimfield, Massachusetts. There's a spring, a summer, and a fall show. The fall show was the first week in September this year, and I hit that, and we got some deals, and we're going to include, that's what this is going to be all about, except for I did find one box from I think it was the August estate that I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and somehow, well, not somehow, taking a look at the mess around here, I guess it's pretty easy to believe, I somehow missed this box. So we're just going to hit this box real quick, and then we'll get right into the Brimfield finds. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. As always, if you are enjoying the videos, please hit the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber and you like seeing these kind of tool find videos, please consider hitting the subscribe button. All right, let's dive right in. So this is the box that I got from the estate that I missed. The interesting thing about this box to me is that it still has a tag on it, 146, and on the back, lot number 146, Industrial Plants Corporation Auctioneers of New York, New York, Skokie, Illinois, and Hull, England. So this must be a pretty big outfit. So my theory here is that the guy whose estate was cleaned out actually probably went to this auction, bought some stuff that was in this box, and then they just repurposed the box. You know, they found it in his estate. So most of what's in here is drill bits, but there's a couple of interesting things. We'll get to this in a second. So he must have had some grinders, because I picked already quite a few of these grinding wheel adapters, and I guess I've got to stop buying these because I keep scoring them here and there. And the funny thing is, I don't need anywhere near this many of them. The reason why I've been picking these when I can pick them is because I'm thinking that some of them might be different tapers than others. And what I've got is I've got that old Hammond Grinder. Some of you may have seen a sneak peek when I first got it way back when. I plan on doing some work to that, fixing that up. And one of the things on that Hammond Grinder that I noticed when I got it was that initially I thought one of the shafts was bent. And one of my viewers back then commented and said, hey, you know, it looks like there's an adapter on there. It's quite possible that whoever had it has the wrong kind of adapter on there. In other words, if they just screwed an adapter on that didn't have the proper taper for that shaft on that Hammond, that could be why the thing is kind of going like this. So it might not be the shaft that's bent, it might just be the fact, it might just be that they've got the wrong adapter on there. So the adapter that's on there looks kind of like these, but maybe you guys who have grinders know better than I would whether or not they have different standards for the tapers on these. So I got a few of these. I don't even know what this wheel is. It's like a backing wheel for something. I don't know what. It's almost feels like it's made out almost like Bakelite or something. But I included it in this box because I wanted the adapter. As I grabbed this wheel, even though it's damaged, because I wanted the adapter. It's a shame that this is damaged because this was a Norton diamond wheel. So you can see there's a big old chunk missing out of there. This black stuff here must be the diamond material, right? And then this wheel here must be just an aluminum substrate. This isn't a coating to protect the diamond, is it? And the diamond is here? No. Must be this black stuff. Help me out, guys. I know you want to comment. Steve, you moron. That wheel's junk. Or Steve, you moron. You're supposed to take this black stuff. But see this, if this was some kind of protective coating, I would think it'd be a lot easier to take off. And that's really bonded on there. So I think this black area is industrial diamond. So, all right. Got an adjustable reamer. You know, when reamers are just kicking around loose in a box like this, they're just getting all kinds of dinged up. But hell, I didn't pay hardly anything for this.
Some of you are probably thinking, yeah, rightly so. You shouldn't pay much for it because it's useless. This is a Morse 1 inch, and it says limit of expansion is 10 thousandths. It says brass.
So, I guess what they're saying is that when you tighten this screw here down, this will open up a maximum of 10 thousandths over an inch. All right. Now, why does that say brass at the bottom there? Is that this is only supposed to be used in brass? I don't know. All right. So, I tell you, that's still pretty darn sharp. See, that could be a form of torture right there. Where you duct tape somebody's hand around that thing there, and then you just start turning this. Steve, you sick bastard. And just a quick look at the drill bits here. We got some real winners here. This is a 3/4 inch National. That's made in the US of A. That's a Clee Forge, 49/64 Clee Forge. I bet you that's brand new. The only nicks and everything that I see on it are just from banging around the box, but I mean that's got a perfect grind on it, which I'm sure somebody could do a grind that nice, but it just, the condition of the shank and the tang and everything makes me think that that's a new one. And then there's a couple of big ones in here. That one's clearly, that's the weird way that somebody ground this thing.
It's a big old Clee Forge. It's 1 15/64.
1 15/64. So I guess, you know, it's 15/64, and then you would ream that to your finished diameter that you were going for, right? So, not gonna bore you with all of it, but you get the gist. And one lonely mandrel. Lonely Barbara Mandrell. Anyways, this I just sold off all of my extra mandrels. I kept like one full set, or the closest to a full set that I could, and I sold off all the others. So I'll just throw this, one of those piles of mandrels hasn't shipped yet, so I'll just add this as a freebie. I don't even know what size it is. It's not marked in the traditional way.
So here's the doohickey that I scored at that. I put in a box, and I knew I was going to get it for peanuts, because most of the just metal items that the guy really wasn't too keen on identifying, I got really cheap. So a lot of people might not recognize what this is, but I spotted it right off the bat. This is a belt lacer. So this is a tool for actually making leather drive belts, the wide flat leather belts that they would have used back in the day on cone head lathes and other machinery that was typically run from an overhead line shaft, although, like in the case of my 14-inch Vernon cone head lathe, it's got a gearbox on a bracket mounted overhead that allows it to basically run the cone head lathe without having to have a line shaft in your shop. So anyways, so I knew what it was. I knew what it was for, but I actually had no idea at the time when I bought it that this is actually a complete unit right here. And the reason why I thought this was something else was because I have the more traditional Clipper, which is the company that makes this, Clipper belt lacer machine, which is a pretty large unit with two handles that you kind of do this action on to actually engage this very elaborate mechanism to do the job that this does. So I thought when I first saw this, going from memory and not remembering how my belt lacer is made, that this was like some sort of jaw that could be put into my existing machine to maybe do a different size. And not knowing off the top of my head what I had for a size in my machine, I figured, oh, this would be a great find. Well, come to find out, what this is this is a completely different animal from what I have. This is a standalone belt lacer that is designed to be used with a vise, from what I could gather online. So the idea is that you would open up your vise jaws and you would drop this into the vise, okay, and then of course it would sit on the top of the jaws because there's a lip here, right? All right. It's got the pin, the alignment pin. So if we pull this pin out, it's actually been stuck in there for a while, but if we pull this pin out, okay, there's actually the remnants of one of the wires or part of one of the laces that was used. So that's what it looks like. So it almost curls it around into almost like a little funky, it's almost like a U-shaped nail that ends up getting bent over at the ends there. Hopefully that's focusing. So I'm actually going to keep this in here just so in case somebody wants to see it. All right. So the idea is that you put your, the way these come is they come carded, and it sits down in here. It's like a metal bunch of fingers, and you cut your belt square and goes down inside here, and then you would close this up, and literally it would have the action of being squeezed by the vise. As you close the vise, it would actually take those fingers that would be like this with sharp ends, and it would punch them right through the leather, okay, and then curl the ends over so that it would lock in, sort of like into that shape I just showed you. So for some reason, that one right there did not go with the belt. It stayed behind on the last, I guess the very last one of these that this ever made. So it's kind of interesting. This is marked right on it. Well, there's a number on the bottom here, but really what tells the tale is over here it actually says, it's kind of hard to see, but it says number NO dot 0-6 inch. So this is for 0 to 6 inches. Not that you would have a 0 size belt, but I guess the idea was that this one tool placed in your vise could be used for up to 6-inch wide belts. So unfortunately, this does not have anywhere near the value that I thought it might have. These trade anywhere from $25 to $40 on eBay. The fact that mine has something extra, which is, of course, this little chain here is to keep this pin from getting lost. What I don't know is what this is. This almost seems like some sort of gauge or something. I don't know whether or not this is supposed to go like in here to help gauge how, I don't know what the heck this does. So if anybody has used one of these, if you can tell me what this doohickey right here is for, the purpose of this, I would, I'd love to know, just because I'm curious. So my big belt lacing machine, those tend to trade over $100 on eBay, so those tend to be more valuable, more sought after. If you're going to be in the business of making leather belts for people, you're going to want one of those other machines. Whereas this, I could see, would just be handy to keep for those few times that you might need to make a leather belt, which most shops don't have to do anymore. You know, if you got a vintage machine shop or a museum or something like that, and you need a lot of belt equipment, I could see where that might be handy to have. Otherwise, it's just kind of a novelty. So, anyways, you know, I don't even remember anymore, but I'm sure I gave probably like around 20 bucks for that whole box, and what I was mostly paying for were those drill bits. Let's get into the fall of 2019 Brimfield flea market finds. So the first vendor that I hit that day, first thing in the morning, he had quite a bit of like a junk, for lack of a better term, and I ended up putting together a pile of stuff, and I got this box right here, which we're going to blast through real quick, and a couple other items, and another little tote full of stuff for 20 bucks. So what I ended up getting from him was a bunch of just metal that I found in various spots, and I just kind of went around and collected it all out of different bins and everything and piled it all in this one box. And what I've got is I've got a lot of nice short little drops. You know, that's probably about 17 inches, 18 inches long. There's a small one there. This one here is probably about 2 feet. Round stock, bar stock, some flat steel, again more. There's a nice good chunk right there. Okay, that looks like it's probably cold rolled steel. That'll probably be easy turning for a project. I would say that's 1.5 inch diameter, whereas this stuff over here, even though it's got some rust on it, I'm not saying that that's stainless, but
All right, pardon the interruption there, but I was just checking. So it turns out this piece, this long piece right here, and this long piece right here are both stainless. These almost look like, I wonder if these were parallels. And I tell you what, let's take a better look at these. These three right here all seem like they've been precision ground, as does this big chunk right here. So that's got to be 1.75 inches by over 1 inch, and it was made into something. It's this block of steel that was bolted to the end of this. So I don't know what this was, and I don't care. All I know is that that's a good piece of stock. That's 1.25 by 3/4. So I don't know if that was, yeah, see that's marked on the end. This says S-0522. Would that be a designation of a type of steel? Well, all right. The S-0522 doesn't seem to designate anything in particular. These are also marked S-0522, but the big story here on these is I already checked. These are spot on, 3/4 inch thick by 1 inch. These are marked on each one of these is marked on one end, clearly marked 3/4 by 1. So these are parallels. But the real nice surprise is on the other end. They're clearly marked. These are Brown and Sharps. These are a pair of Brown and Sharp precision parallels that were just cast in boxes with other metal, like pieces of junk. Well, that's nice. I'll clean those up, and those are going to go right in my stock of parallels. Yeah, my camera battery is dying, but anyways, that product. Ah, here it is. Ah, that's not a starting thing. Oh, well, anyways, the stuff that I'm thinking of, it's made by Napa. I don't know who it's made by, but it's sold by Napa in their stores, and it's It's got a very distinct ammonia smell to it. Now, ammonia in water is known to be really good for cleaning glass. What interests me about it is the foaming action. So I don't know how they're making that happen. Smells like Teen Spirit. No, actually, isopropyl alcohol is the smell that I'm getting off of this. Wow, I'm not getting off on this at all. Now it smells like isopropyl alcohol, so this is something else. All right, so this little tote here contains the rest of the items that I got for a total of $20. Yeah, I just pulled a few items out here. Oh, look at that, another grinding wheel adapter. After I just got done talking about those, huh? And actually I grabbed this grinding wheel. Again, the wheel actually I think is okay. Carborundum. But I mainly got it for the adapter. But that actually might be a good usable wheel if I can not drop it. This drill index, just the way that I found it. It's a step shank drill that's kind of thrown in there, so it's kind of a hodgepodge of drill bits. I don't know what was originally in here. These are marked USA with a large M inside of a little box. So I don't know if that's Morse or not. Just curious if I randomly pick one, a couple spots down. Yeah, you go two openings down, and it's not marked at all. So I don't think this is a 15/32 drill. It's marked B and S USA. So maybe it's Brown and Sharp. And that's a Union twist drill. So just a bunch of random drill bits. Nice high-speed steel cutter. This is a National out of Detroit. Actually, looks like it's in pretty good shape. Matter of fact, I could see the remnants of what was probably the coating that was on here to protect it after it was sharpened. So this might be actually new old stock. This is a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 by 1.5 by inch, I think. So that must mean a 1-inch bore, 2 1/4 OD, 1.5 height, right? Yeah, that's sharp. A couple of random pieces of, actually I think this is cast iron. I think I just found these like after I had already put together that box of scrap, so. Slitting saw, 0.087, dirty as heck. This is kind of neat. Merrill Mathematics, no greater measure of success. So this is just a little tape measure, the little kind of tape measure, the like gimmies, the giveaway ones you get for free when you shop somewhere. This is marked on here though. It's marked Barlow, made in USA. So that must be the maker of the actual tape measure. Barlow, made in USA, which I thought was interesting. And the other thing I thought was interesting was it's got metric on the top and inches on the bottom. So, but I just grabbed it because I like no greater measure of success. That's actually kind of a neat little motto for a tape measure, I think. Guess I'm easily amused. And then there's this here. This is a number 1551 thread limit gauge. Not go. Not no go. Not go. So this is GTD. This is Greenfield Tap and Die. And what's in here, wrapped in this nice little paper, is this thing. So when I first saw this thing, I thought maybe somebody threw some sort of an arbor or something in this box because it's got this ground flat on it. All right. So I'm like, okay, well that's for a set screw to grab it so that it doesn't spin in the collet or whatever in the holder. And then it's got a threaded end so you could put, you know, an arbor. But no, this is actually a thread gauge. So the idea is, I guess you try and screw this into the hole. And the only reason I know that that's what this is because it has the GTD, Greenfield Tap and Die logo on it, and the part number on it actually matches the number that's written on the outside of the box here. So now let's take a look at this little funky thing here. This one, this is one of the first things I picked from that vendor to start the pile. I was going through, and initially I was like, I don't even know if I want to make a pile of stuff. There's a lot of this stuff I could do without. I'm glad I did now. Now that I'm revisiting it and going through it and realizing how much stuff I ended up getting for that 20 bucks, I'm really happy with it. But this is really something different here. This is a well, let's start out with the obvious. It's obvious it's to go in a tool post. Now, whether or not it's supposed to go in a lantern style tool post on a lathe, or is it for a shaper, okay? Or neither, I don't know. So it's got something interesting going on here. When this nut is loosened, that allows this to pop up and be rotated into several different positions. All right. There's a square hole that certainly looks like it's for a tool, a high-speed steel, more than likely. All right. It's kind of funky how it's got this kick down here, but that kind of makes sense when you look at where the hole is for the cutting tool. That would put it pretty much right in line with the shank here in the tool holder. So this is marked Shap Lane Engine Lathe Radius Tool. All right, so I guess the mystery as to what it goes in is over. This is not for a shaper. It's for an engine lathe. So how do you cut a radius with this thing? Oh, son of a gun. I think I just figured this out. I'm looking at this here. Well, there it is right there, folks. There's a worm gear or something in here. And what happens is, there must be a handle that went on here that's missing. So I don't know if this is just stuck from lack of use. But there must be a way to, well, that's just the set screw to keep that tool in there. But there must be a way to, you mount this and then you turn this, and that's going to make this swivel like this. So you're going to be able to cut. All right, so what are you going to be able to do with that? Well, you're going to be able to cut a concave shape on something with it. Well, I guess the radius that you're able to cut is going to be set by how deep or far out the tool extends, right? Well, but if we extend it too far out, we're going to have problems. So it seems like it's got a pretty limited use to me. So let's see. There's one end of the work, and there's one end of the beast right there. Let's see if that looks good. I do not see any broken or chipped teeth, so that's looking good. Let's take a look down inside here and see what we got. We got a worm gear, which is what I would have expected. Can you see that? So this is kind of funky. This is a inconcentric circle arrangement here. We got, the hell we got here? We got 3 of them. So this inner part right here has a dot on it right there. It looks like that can be rotated inside this bore. Then inside that, we have this brass piece that has a dot on it that looks like that can be rotated inside this. Well, it can be rotated, right? And then we've got this shaft in the middle here. So why would you want to... Oh, okay. I see what we got. I think I'm onto something here. So when it's rotated down far enough, the worm gear doesn't engage this gear.
which allows this to be spun, well, sort of independently. Maybe not. Spoke too soon. Still kind of grabs on that. Something doesn't seem right here. I'm wondering about whether or not this is even supposed to be sticking out, because this moves in, and I'm wondering why the heck can this move out? Oh, okay, here we go. I think that's supposed to be in there like that. See, now with that in there like that, that seems to spin a little bit more. Oh, maybe that's just so you could take this out? So we get a couple of set screws here. They're probably doing something that I don't understand. Well, alright, I'm probably boring the hell out of everybody with this thing. Well, there you go. It says 2.5-inch radius. So, oh no, it doesn't. What is it? Yeah, 2.5. Well, actually, it says 1/2.5 R. So what the hell do they mean there? This label's really hard to read, but it says the CB Teeter. Yep, Teeter. Teeter. Small Tools and Supplies, 4470 Oakenwald Ave? Oakenwald Ave, I think. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago. Phone. Oh, you're going to love it. This is one of those, the phone number is Brexel 357. How old is that? That's in the day. That's in the days when you picked up the phone and the operator came on the line and you said, "Connect me with Brexel 357." Oh man, that's an old puff. That's a cream puff there. It also has a part number on here, number 57A. Ha! Bet you I won't find one of them on eBay. All right, so I did a little digging and. Nothing on this particular manufacturer, but as far as this type of tool goes, apparently it is a thing. A company called Eagle Rock that makes one that it's like a $300 tool. And then there's also a lot of companies will make this, and then they'll have the other tool that would be like the mate to it, which would do. So this would do the concave radius, and then the other one would do like the convex or a ball. So this could make like a socket, and then if you had the other one same size radius, you could make a ball. So you could do ball and socket type of setup here. This played around with this a little bit more, and this does seem to be moving correctly now. So I think that it could be. There's supposed to be a knob on here that's missing. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I guess there is a flat here, and that looks like, I can't tell, that might be a threaded hole, so there might have been a knob that slid on here, and then, anyways, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Might be something fun to play around with if I can get it working correctly. Yeah, there's something screwy here that this keeps coming out. Doesn't want to come out all the way though. If I take these socket head screws out, maybe it would kind of tell the tale of what's going on here, but I'm not going to mess with it now. Well, I know I said I wasn't going to mess with it, but I couldn't resist. It seems so simple to just loosen up these two set screws, and this whole thing came apart, and it was pretty straightforward, and I could see from the marks left, indentations left on this outer piece, exactly where to line this up. And then once you line that outer piece up in the correct position, and you line up that inner piece so that the dots line up, then you clamp it down with the two screws. Now this doesn't pop out anymore. It stays in like it's supposed to. And if I put a wrench on here to engage this flat, I was able to turn this, and it seems to work the way it should. Now, obviously I'm going to want to run this nut down, and there's probably supposed to be a washer or a spacer maybe or something there. I don't know. And it's very stiff, but you know, the grease that's in there is really prehistoric and kind of gotten really nasty. So I think if I take this all apart, clean it, and re-grease it, I think it might work actually pretty well. So if I decide to play around with this on the lathe just to see what the heck it does at some point, I will I'll take some time to take this apart, clean it up, and relube it, and then see what we can fashion for a knob to work on this thing.